Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, chaos swirling around you, strong winds, crashing waves, everything unpredictable and beyond your control. Most people panic, grasping for anything to hold on to, desperately trying to stop the storm. But what if, instead, you could stand firm, unshaken, completely at peace? The world is always changing. Plans fall apart, people leave, unexpected challenges arise. You can't stop the storm, but you can become the rock that withstands it. This is the power of Stoicism, the ability to remain grounded, calm, and in control, no matter how turbulent life becomes. Let's talk about something that most people fear but cannot escape: change. The world is in a constant state of motion, evolving with every second, yet we often resist it, hoping that certain moments will last forever or that difficult times will never come. But the truth is, nothing is permanent. Seasons shift, circumstances evolve, and life itself is a cycle of beginnings and endings. The more we fight this reality, the more suffering we create for ourselves. It's not change that causes pain, it's our attachment to things staying the same. Imagine holding onto a rope that is being pulled away from you. The tighter you grip, the more it burns your hands, the more it tears at your skin. This is how most people deal with change. They hold on for dear life, resisting what is inevitable, and in doing so, they cause themselves more harm than if they had simply let go. The problem isn't change itself, it's the refusal to accept it. But the moment you stop fighting reality, the moment you choose to flow with the current rather than against it, everything changes. You stop seeing change as a threat and start seeing it as a teacher. When you look back at your life, you'll realize that every major turning point was the result of change. Some of these changes may have felt like disasters at the time, but in hindsight, they led you to something better, something necessary. That failed relationship, that lost job, that unexpected detour. What if those weren't roadblocks but redirections? What if every moment of uncertainty was life pushing you toward something greater? The difference between those who crumble under change and those who thrive in it is a simple mindset shift. One resists, the other embraces. The mind loves familiarity. It finds comfort in predictability, even when that predictability isn't serving you. This is why people stay in jobs they hate, in relationships that drain them, in habits that destroy them, because it's easier to cling to the known than to step into the unknown. But the unknown isn't the enemy. The unknown is where growth happens. The unknown is where you find your greatest strength. The unknown is where life truly begins. So how do you stop fearing change and start embracing it? The first step is to remind yourself that everything is temporary. The joy, the pain, the success, the failure, it all passes. And that's not something to fear, that's something to find peace in. The storm never lasts forever, and neither does the sunshine. When you understand this, you stop clinging, you stop resisting, you learn to appreciate the good moments fully without fearing their end, and you endure the tough times with the understanding that they too will pass. The second step is to shift your focus from what you cannot control to what you can. You cannot stop time from moving forward, but you can decide how you respond to it. You cannot prevent hardships from coming your way, but you can choose whether to let them break you or build you. The world will continue changing whether you like it or not, so why not choose to change with it? Why not use change as a tool for transformation instead of a source of suffering? Some of the greatest minds in history didn't just accept change, they welcomed it. They understood that adaptability is the key to resilience. Life is not about standing still, it's about learning to move with the shifting tides. When you let go of the illusion of control, when you stop trying to hold on to things that were never meant to be permanent, you free yourself. You stop being a prisoner to fear. You stop being someone who dreads the future and start becoming someone who is prepared for anything it brings. Think about a tree in the middle of a storm. The ones that try to resist the wind, that refuse to bend, are the ones that break. But the ones that sway, the ones that move with the wind rather than against it, they survive. They stand tall because they understand that strength isn't about being rigid, it's about being flexible. Life is no different. Strength isn't about avoiding change, it's about embracing it with an open mind and an open heart. Every challenge, every shift, every unexpected turn is not happening to you, it's happening for you. The only thing standing between you and peace is your perspective. Let go of the need for things to stay the same. Accept the impermanence of all things, and watch how life becomes lighter, how fear loses its grip, how you start moving forward without the weight of resistance holding you back. Because the moment you stop fearing change is the moment you stop mastering it. Let's talk about the noise that fills your mind every day. The constant chatter of the world, the endless opinions, the distractions that pull you in 100 different directions. In a world that never stops moving, staying grounded requires something most people overlook: mastery over your own mind. Because if you don't control your mind, something else will. If you let the world dictate your emotions, if you allow circumstances to decide your inner state, then you are not in control. You are a puppet, reacting to every tug of the strings. But those who remain steady, those who move through life with clarity and purpose, understand a simple truth: external chaos does not have to become internal chaos. Everywhere you go there is noise: social media, the news, the constant flood of information demanding your attention. And the more you let yourself be pulled into it, the more disconnected you become from yourself. This is why people feel lost, anxious, and overwhelmed. They wake up and immediately reach for their phones, filling their minds with the concerns of others before they've even had a moment to collect their own thoughts. They react before they reflect. And when you live in a state of reaction, you are not in control. You are being controlled. The world will always be full of distractions, full of people trying to tell you what to think, how to feel, what to do. But the question is, do you listen? Do you let every passing opinion shape your reality? Or do you step back and ask yourself, is this something worth my attention? Is this something I should give my energy to? Most people don't ask these questions. They absorb everything, and in doing so, they lose themselves. But those who remain grounded, those who keep their inner world steady even as the external world shifts, have learned the power of filtering out the unnecessary. They know that not everything deserves a reaction, not every emotion needs to be acted upon, not every battle is worth fighting. It is easy to get caught up in the drama of the moment, to feel the urge to respond, to engage, to prove yourself. But what do you gain from it? What is the cost of letting every little thing steal your peace? Some people walk through life as if they are on a battlefield, fighting every comment, every perceived slight, every inconvenience. But they fail to see that in trying to fight everything, they lose themselves. They exhaust their energy on things that do not matter, on things that do not change their lives in any meaningful way. And when the real battles come, the ones that truly require their strength, their focus, their discipline, they have nothing left to give. A grounded mind is a powerful mind. It is not swayed by every passing emotion, every piece of bad news, every criticism thrown its way. It is steady, unshaken. It understands that peace is not found in the world, it is created within, and that peace is built through discipline, through the ability to step back, to observe rather than react, to choose where to place your energy instead of letting the world decide for you. Most people spend their lives searching for peace, but they are looking in the wrong places. They think they will find it in success, in approval, in achievement. But peace does not come from the outside. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain steady. No matter what changes around you, you will not lose yourself. No matter how loud the world gets, your mind will remain clear, focused, unshaken. This is not something you achieve overnight. It is something you train, just like a muscle. Every time you choose not to react impulsively, every time you take a deep breath instead of lashing out, every time you walk away from unnecessary drama, you are strengthening that muscle. You are reinforcing the idea that you are in control of your mind, not the world around you. And the stronger you become, the less the noise of the world will affect you. You will move through life with a sense of calm that others cannot understand, because they are still trapped in the cycle of reaction. But you will not be, because you have chosen something greater. You have chosen mastery over your mind. And that mastery is what keeps you grounded, no matter what the world throws your way. There is a moment between what happens to you and how you respond, a small, almost imperceptible gap where your true power lies. Most people never recognize it. They go through life reacting instantly, letting emotions dictate their actions, surrendering control over their own minds. But those who understand this moment, those who can pause, reflect and choose their response, possess something rare, an unshakable sense of self-mastery. And in a world of constant change, that mastery is the foundation that keeps you steady. Life will test you. It will throw challenges in your path, disrupt your plans, and present situations that tempt you to react impulsively. The question is, will you let those external forces dictate your emotions, or will you learn to master your reactions? People assume that control comes from forcing situations to bend to their will, but true control comes from within. It is not about changing the world, it is about changing how you interact with it. And that begins with understanding that external events have no power over you unless you give it to them. Think about the last time you were frustrated, the last time someone's words triggered you, the last time a setback made you feel defeated. Was it the event itself that caused your suffering, or was it your perception of it? Most people live in a constant state of reaction because they never stop to question their own emotions. They never pause to ask, is this worth my energy? Is this something I can control? Will my reaction serve me, or will it only drain me? Those who fail to ask these questions become prisoners of their own emotions. They are tossed around by life, controlled by every inconvenience, every piece of bad news, every opinion thrown their way. But those who recognize the power of that small gap between action and reaction, they are free. Freedom is not found in the absence of struggle, it is found in the ability to remain calm despite it. When the world around you is chaotic, when things do not go as planned, when people disappoint you, or situations take an unexpected turn, that is when you must return to yourself. That is when you must remind yourself that while you may not control the world, you always control how you respond. And that response, that choice, determines everything. Some people waste their lives fighting battles that are not theirs to fight, chasing control over things that are ultimately uncontrollable. They want people to think a certain way, behave a certain way, treat them a certain way, and when reality does not align with their expectations, they suffer. They let anger, frustration, and resentment consume them. But those who stay grounded, those who remain steady, understand that peace is not found in controlling others, it is found in mastering yourself. The world is unpredictable. People will change, situations will shift, circumstances will surprise you. If your peace is dependent on everything going your way, you will always live in turmoil. But if you can detach from the need to control every outcome, if you can accept what is outside of your influence and focus only on what is within your power, then nothing can shake you. The external world may change, but your internal world remains steady. This discipline is not easy. It requires practice. It requires self-awareness. It requires the ability to step back when emotions rise, to pause before reacting, to choose patience over impulse. But every time you do this, you strengthen the foundation that keeps you grounded. Every time you choose calm over chaos, every time you redirect your focus from what you cannot change to what you can, you reclaim your power. People may try to provoke you. Situations may test you. But you are not here to be ruled by external forces. You are here to master yourself. And that mastery is what will keep you unshaken in a world that never stops changing. Everything around you is in a state of flux. The world changes, people change. Circumstances shift in ways you cannot predict or control. And yet, so many live in constant resistance, clinging to expectations that life should unfold according to their desires. But reality does not bend to your will. It moves with or without your consent. The question is, will you let this movement disturb your peace, or will you learn to flow with it? Most people attach their happiness to specific outcomes. They convince themselves that things must happen in a certain way, at a certain time, with a certain result. And when life takes a different course, when things do not go according to their plan, they suffer. They become frustrated, anxious, bitter. But this suffering is not caused by the event itself. It is caused by their attachment to an outcome that was never guaranteed. What if, instead of resisting change, you embraced it? What if, instead of clinging to how things should be, you focused on what you can control, the process, your effort, your discipline? These are within your power, but the results are never yours to own. You may give everything you have to a pursuit, but the outcome will always be shaped by forces beyond you. The wise do not waste their energy obsessing over what they cannot command. They recognize that success is found in action, not attachment. A farmer plants seeds, waters the soil, tends to the crops. He does everything in his power to nurture growth. But whether the sun shines or the rain falls, whether the harvest is abundant or scarce, is not for him to decide. His duty is to the work, not the result. And the same is true for you. Your task is to do what is right, to give your best effort, to uphold your principles, not to demand that life rewards you in a particular way. There is power in this detachment. When you stop chasing results and start focusing on the process, you become untouchable. Disappointment loses its grip on you because you no longer measure your success by an outcome that was never in your control. You measure it by your discipline, your consistency, your ability to act with integrity no matter the result. And when you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from frustration, from impatience, from the endless cycle of expectations and letdowns. This does not mean you stop striving. It does not mean you become passive. On the contrary, it means you give yourself fully to your work, to your actions, to your principles, without letting the uncertainty of the future dictate your emotion. When you focus on the present moment, on the step in front of you, rather than obsessing over the distant finish line, you move forward with a quiet confidence. You trust the process. You do what must be done, and you accept whatever follows with grace. But detachment is not just about work. It applies to everything: relationships, ambitions, health, even life itself. People fear loss because they believe they own things, that they are entitled to them, but nothing is truly yours. Not your possessions, not your status, not even the people in your life. You are merely borrowing them for a time. And if they should leave, if circumstances should change, you will not collapse under the weight of that loss if you have already accepted its impermanence. The world is in constant motion. The only question is, will you fight against the inevitable, exhausting yourself in a battle you cannot win? Or will you learn to let go, to adapt, to focus on what is within your power while surrendering what is not? There is freedom in this mindset, a calm that cannot be disturbed, a strength that does not waver. When you detach from outcomes and focus on the process, You do not lose, no matter what happens. You become unshaken, steady in a world that never stops changing. Every day, the world around you pulls at your attention. News, opinions, distractions. They flood your mind, demanding your reaction, tempting you to engage, to argue, to worry. It is easy to get lost in this noise, to be dragged into emotions that serve no purpose, to let the chaos of the external world shake your inner stability. But that is the mistake most people make. They think they must respond to everything, that every challenge, every opinion, every problem in the world must be theirs to carry. But the truth is, not everything requires your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, the wind howling, the rain pouring. Most people try to fight against it, shouting at the wind, cursing the rain, believing that if they resist hard enough, they can stop the storm. But no amount of frustration will change the weather. The storm will pass when it passes, on its own time, without your approval. The wise do not fight the storm, they endure it. They find shelter, they adapt, they focus on what they can control, how they react, how they prepare, how they protect their peace. Your mind is the same. The world will always be full of noise, full of distractions, full of chaos that is beyond your control. You cannot stop the storm, but you can decide how you stand within it. You can let it consume you, or you can build a solid foundation within yourself, one that does not waver no matter what happens around you. That foundation is built on principles, on discipline, on wisdom, on the understanding that external events do not determine your peace. Only you do. When you stop letting external events dictate your emotions, you gain a level of freedom that few ever experience. You are no longer at the mercy of bad news, of other people's anger, of situations beyond your control. You remain steady, composed, unshaken. And that stability does not just benefit you, it influences those around you. People are drawn to those who remain calm in the midst of chaos, who do not let every small inconvenience ruin their day, who do not allow external forces to determine their inner world. But this does not mean you become indifferent. It does not mean you stop caring or that you ignore problems. It means you approach everything with a level mind, with a clear perspective. It means you act when action is needed, but do not waste energy on what does not serve you. You recognize that not every battle is yours to fight, not every problem is yours to solve, and not every opinion is worth your response. When you master this, you gain something that cannot be bought, cannot be faked: peace of mind. A mind that is not disturbed by every passing event, that does not jump to react at every provocation, that remains firm regardless of what happens in the world outside. And in a world that constantly seeks to pull you into its chaos, that kind of peace is the ultimate strength. In a world that is constantly shifting, where circumstances change, where people come and go, where success can turn into failure in an instant, one thing remains constant: your character. Who you are, how you think, how you respond to life's trials. That is what truly defines you. Most people chase stability in the wrong places. They look for it in money, in status, in the approval of others. They believe that if they can just control everything around them, they will finally have peace. But the reality is, control over the external world is an illusion. You cannot dictate how others behave. You cannot stop change from happening. You cannot force life to unfold exactly as you wish. But what you can control, what is always within your power, is how you meet the challenges of each day. Too many people waste their lives resisting what is inevitable. They fight against change, refusing to accept what is beyond their grasp. They live in fear of uncertainty, clinging to comfort, avoiding discomfort, hoping they can outrun the unpredictable nature of life. But this only leads to frustration, anxiety, and suffering. Instead of trying to stop the world from changing, the wiser path is to change how you move through the world. to cultivate the ability to adapt, to remain steady even when everything around you is uncertain, to accept that change is neither good nor bad, it simply is, and your response to it determines everything. There is a power in surrendering to what you cannot control, in learning to let go, in trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. This is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. The unwise panic when their plans fall apart, when obstacles appear, when life does not go their way. The wise adjust. They do not waste time wishing things were different. They recognize reality as it is, not as they want it to be, and they move forward accordingly. They do not cling to the past, nor do they obsess over the future. They focus on the present moment, because that is where life happens. This ability to embrace change, to flow with it rather than resist it, is what allows you to stay grounded. Because when your peace depends on things staying the same, you will always be at war with reality. But when your peace comes from within, when it is rooted in your mindset, in your principles, in your ability to face life as it is, then nothing can shake you. You become unmovable, not because the world stops changing, but because you have stopped depending on it to be a certain way. And this is not something that happens overnight. It is a practice, a daily discipline. It requires self-awareness, patience, and the willingness to let go of the need to control everything. It requires trust, not in the world, but in yourself. Trust that no matter what happens, you will endure. Trust that no matter what is taken from you, your character remains. Trust that even in the face of uncertainty, you have everything you need to stand firm. When you truly understand this, when you internalize it, you become the type of person who is not easily shaken, the type of person who remains calm when others panic, the type of person who does not let every small inconvenience disrupt their peace. And that is rare. That is powerful. That is what it means to stay grounded in a world of constant change.